everyone. It's a quiet, beautiful evening here on the cul-de-sac. We're going to head inside and make banana bread for Father's Day breakfast tomorrow morning. So come on in and let's start baking. Okay, here we are back in the kitchen. Again, we're going to make banana bread for Father's Day breakfast tomorrow morning, and I'm going to give you the amounts for 2 breads. We're going to make 2 banana breads. I already 1 cup of butter, and I already have half of it in there. That would be 2 sticks total. And what I do to help get the butter softened is I put it in the bowl in, about 1-inch pieces as opposed to just whole sticks. That'll take longer, and the sticks are already a little pre-softened here, which will be good. And then what I do while the butter is softening, rather than wait for the butter to completely soften, I go ahead and measure the sugar right into the butter. And this will be 2.5 cups of sugar, because again, this is for 2 banana breads. Okay, and we're going to measure that out. And while I'm measuring the sugar, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this recipe. This is a family favorite recipe. It's an old family recipe that was given to us by a neighbor that I grew up with, and it's just become a family favorite ever since. We made it over and over again as kids. My mother made it a lot. Whenever somebody needed a baked item for an office party or school, or just a dessert for home, Christmas presents, we would make this banana bread. And I do think that this one is extra delicious. I've never really, this recipe entered our family, I never felt like any other banana bread was nearly as good. And you'll see why. There's an ingredient in here that I think is what makes the difference. And every time I make this, I think of my neighbors who gave us this recipe, and we have stayed in touch, and I'm so glad that we've made the effort to stay in touch. So we just have our butter and sugar in here. The butter is softening and the sugar's already in there. And we'll come back shortly when that is ready to be mixed. Okay, I think our 2.5 cups of sugar and our 1 cup of butter are ready to go onto our mixer. And for this we use the paddle. That's our oven heating up back there. For this we're going to use the paddle. You don't want to use the whip. These mixers are great. The one thing people need to remember with these mixers is you don't want to whip it so that it's completely aerated. Your baked product will not come out the way you want it to. So when I'm using it to bake, I try not to mix it a whole lot better than what I would be able to do it by hand. And it's mixing up there pretty well. Now while that's mixing, next we're going to add our wets. We have 4 eggs that I've already broken into my Pyrex dish. And again, these amounts are for two breads, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And I'm just going to pour that into my eggs. And we have our special ingredient coming up right now. And that is, voila, our sour cream. And this is what I think makes this recipe extra good and special. If you open up your sour cream and it's a little watery, just give it a stir. I did pre-stir this. Now, since this is for 2 breads, we have 8 tablespoons of sour cream. I'm sure that probably could end up being something a little simpler, like maybe 1/3 of a cup or something, or I don't know. But at any rate, we're doing 8. That's 2. And Okay. All right, we'll be back in a minute after these are all measured out, okay? Okay, that creamed up together nicely, the butter and sugar. It's a nice homogeneous mixture. So now we are going to add our wets. And again, in this Pyrex, I have 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 8 tablespoons of sour cream. I'm just going to give it a little mix, and then I'll just start to slowly add it in to the butter and sugar I have on as low as possible there, okay? And I kind of just mixing it as I'm pouring it in, okay? All right, now we're going to let that mix, and while that's mixing, I'll tell you about the bananas. We would always do 2 bananas per bread. Since we're doing 2 breads today, we're going to do 8. And in case you haven't already heard, for banana bread, you want your bananas to be a little overripe. And if you have some bananas that are overripe and you don't think the family is going to eat them in time, pop them in the freezer, unpeeled in the freezer, and they'll hold, and you can just pull them out and thaw them out for when you want to make a banana bread. And I just have them in a shallow dish here to make mashing easier, and I'm just using a potato masher to mash them up and make them nice and creamy and kind of maybe even a little liquidy so that they will incorporate well into our butter, sugar, eggs mixture over there. Okay, and here we have our bananas ready. You want to get it just about like that, and 4 bananas, by the way. I just caught myself there. 2 bananas per bread, and since we're making 2 breads, we want 4 bananas, okay? And you just want to mash it up and get it nice, and it doesn't have to be completely lump-free, but you don't want to put it in there chunky either, okay? All right. So this will complete our liquids, and here we will now add the banana to our mixture that's already in our machine here. Okay, we're adding the bananas now, and we could add it while it's running, but for safety, I think I'll just do it like this because I have such a wide pan here. Okay, so we're going to mix those bananas into the rest of the batter. Okay, just mix them in slowly. While that's mixing in slowly, I'll tell you about our dries. I have pre-measured the dries, and in here I have 3 cups of flour. I used white whole wheat, and I have 2 teaspoons of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of salt. And I kind of mixed it together, and we're just now going to add our dries to the wet. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I think, to make it a little easier is I'm just going to use a scoop and do it while it's going. All right? Just a little at a time until it's all mixed in, and we'll be back when it's all mixed in. Okay, we got all of our dry ingredients in there now, and it's just mixed. We don't want to over mix it and make it gummy. Everything is just mixed in there together. I'm just going to scrape off my paddle a little bit here. I don't want to lose any of that yummy banana bread batter. Okay, and we have plenty for 2 breads. Get that off there safely. And I like this, it's kind of a knife-shaped spatula. It's good for cleaning out blades, but anyway, just kind of scrape the sides down a little bit of the batter. It's a fairly thick batter. Now what I'm going to do is, and I could have kept the blade on for this part. I'm going to add some dark mini chocolate chips. Okay, and just kind of fold that. I'm going to fold it in with my little spatula here. I like mini chips because they just disperse better throughout any mixture as opposed to the larger ones. All right, we're gonna just fold those in. All right, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna spray our baking pans here, our loaf pans. I already did one. I just take it, I set it in the sink and spray it so it doesn't go all over the place. And I'm gonna pour about half, I'm just eyeballing it, into one of the pans. It's about somewhere between a half, 3/4 of the way full. Okay, maybe that one might be able to handle a little bit more. Now, what we're gonna add to the rest of the batter for the second loaf are walnuts. It's nothing better than walnuts, chocolate, and banana. And our daddy loves walnuts, so it's for Father's Day, so why not? I think about a half a cup is fine. And I really like these walnuts. I found them at our grocery store. They call them Baker's Special walnuts. They're just kind of chopped to just the right size for baking. Not too small, not too big. So we're going to fold those in to the second one. I'm leaving one nut free because some people don't like nuts, and then you have, you'll have allergy issues with some people, and we're actually bringing the second bread to a friend. So typically, unless I know for sure, I keep nuts out because of all the allergies, and I'm not sure if there are any nut allergies in their family. Okay, so we just have to remember to keep the one with nuts for our little gathering tomorrow morning. And then these are going to bake up at about 350, well, at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for a good 30 minutes. And we'll test them to make sure they're done before we take them out, with the knife. When the knife comes out clean, without any crumbs or dampness on it, we will know that it's cooked all the way through and they're nice and browned on top. Okay, so we'll pop these in the oven and we'll be back in about 30 minutes. Okay, our banana breads are done. They actually took 1 full hour to cook at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The house smells absolutely wonderful. They baked up nice and golden crisp on top, so we know they're done, firm to the touch, and a knife comes out perfectly clean when inserted into each bread. We'll let them cool completely on this rack, and then we'll go around the sides with just a regular table knife, and then we'll just invert them out onto the rack to cool even further before packaging them up. Now, just to recap the amounts for you, for just 2 basic banana breads, you need 1 cup of butter, 2½ cups of sugar, 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 8 tablespoons of sour cream, 4 bananas, 3 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we will see you back here tomorrow morning for Father's Day. Good morning, everyone. It's bright and early, and we're gathered out here on our deck for Father's Day breakfast. Let me show you how I like to slice this banana bread. I like to slice it lengthwise from one end to the other all the way down the center, and then turn it and just do about 1/2-inch slices all the way down for nice size serving pieces. Okay? And I'd just like to say that I truly enjoyed sharing this old family favorite recipe with you, and I hope it becomes one of your family's favorites as well. Even more importantly right now, Happy Father's Day, everyone!